Hello, everybody. Welcome in. I'm going to give you a quick um, warning. It's possible that the video feed tonight is going to be highly problematic. I've been messing with the video, with our video suite. Not that, but I'm messing with the video suite for like an hour now to try to get some weird glitches gone, and they seem to go away and then they'll come back. And so if the video starts to go to crap, we might have to cut this short and reschedule. So that's kind of like that's going to be my precursor to all of the shenanigans tonight. I don't know what the deal is. I tried to use a different program to go live with, and even that one was having problems. So I'll probably have to sometime next week tear apart the computer and reset everything back up. So as far as I know, Carol, everybody that went to DC, I didn't go to DC, but everybody that went to DC from our team was safe. So I haven't heard, neither of them have been sick or shown any symptoms or signs. So we seem to be just fine. No, Colin, I actually turned on the AC at like 9 o'clock this morning when I got in. So it's actually cool in here, thankfully, even with the lights and everything on. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it's my Stream Deck or the computer or the internet connection, but there's something that was earlier, at least when I was setting everything up for the past hour or so, was causing like glitches in the camera feed and everything like that. So but just weird, like flickering. It's happened before on, I don't remember, maybe the May live stream. We had some issues with it, and I contacted the company, both the company that I use my Stream Deck and the program that I use, and neither of them could figure anything out. And it was fixed after I did a bunch of stuff, and then now it's back to being a pain in the ass. So, all right. There's a few of you here, and we'll start things off by just going through the craziness that is today. Obviously, I've gotten a whole bunch of emails from a bunch of you because the product launch that we were going to do today obviously didn't happen. So we apologize for that. I was working on getting all the pages on the store built and everything at like 10 o'clock this morning, and then in the middle of saving a product, and it just stopped being able to be saved. So, and then a bunch of people have contacted me to let me know that the website, the back end is slow. So like when you go to process a payment, it just sits there for forever and ever and ever and ever. And we've only had like 2 transactions come through all day today. So there's something going on with WooCommerce's back end where like you can't save things to the host. Everything else seems fine. Everything that we've done to check everything seems like it's working. It's just when you go to save stuff, it doesn't do anything. It just sits there and times out. So we do have a website guy working on it, but I don't know. Yeah, Ian, you were on a different link because I was testing something on a different program. So I apologize for that. So the launch has been postponed. I have no idea. Hopefully sometimes this weekend. We have a website guy working on things, but it could be next week before we launch those pens. So I don't even know. We can't figure out what's wrong with it. Everything else seems to work. I can access all the pages that we already have built. I can go to all different places. I can clear the caches. I can do all kinds of things. I just can't. I can edit the front side of the website, and save that. Basically, like the non-store pages, I can make changes to those. The only thing I can't do is I can't make changes to the WooCommerce backend, which is where we host and sell everything. So the sale is down, is basically on pause until we can get that up and running. I have no idea when that's going to be. Other than that, I don't know. I was going to talk a bunch about that product, but unfortunately, more time to find more money. Oh, there's the glitch. So if you just see that, it'll come up here in a minute. You'll see the glitch on the screen that I'm talking about. If it gets much worse, we'll have to put this on pause and reschedule the YouTube live too, which I apologize for. That being the case, since I don't have a lot of stuff I was going to talk about, I'm going to kind of speed through things. I'm going to show off some of the stuff that we're going to take with us to the San Francisco show. So we just wrapped up the DC Pen Show, had some of those pens come back with us. We offered some of those pens to the Pen Club members, some of the exclusive DC pens. Set aside a few of them that we'll take to the San Francisco show, and then let me just switch the cameras around, and we'll talk about these pens that we're taking to San Francisco with us. So as you can see here, we've got basically, well, one of these pens is not a San Francisco pen. I'm going to move that. It's not confusing to you guys. The 3 Vertexes are the pens that we're going to, or 3 of the exclusive pens we're going to take to San Francisco with us. The one on the left, that's that kind of like coppery, reddish with black in it. That's the San Francisco release, specifically limited edition. So this pen is the San Francisco release that goes with this lid. There's going to be a variety of different grip sections offered with that. Basically, you'll be able to pick whichever ones you want for that one. And then we have these tie-dye pens that are going to be taken, just a small batch of these tie-dye pens that come in kind of different hues. Some of them are brighter, some of them are darker. And then the far one on the end is a teal, like a pastel blue and teal and purple. And we have a few of those that we're going to take with us as well. So I'm going to put the EDK back in a minute. So these are going to be available exclusively at the San Francisco Pen Show. Like I said, limited edition ones are going to be these, and then the other 2 are going to be small batches. We have more of the tie-dye pen than we do of the San Francisco release. So that tie-dye pen will probably be, we'll take that one to the Colorado Pen Show as well. And then that will kind of be like a exclusive Pen Show pen that we'll have available. So the EDK is the EDK that we were also going to release today with the Battle Worn blue inks. This EDK it's a prototype EDK. So this EDK we made in 2016. It was the first basically iteration of our grip section, grip profile, basically adaptation process. This pen was basically commissioned by Mack Trucks. They were launching a new line of trucks, and they ordered this pen in this style. It doesn't have knurling at the top. It has rings like the rings that we did here. So this is basically the grooved EDK came from this that we released later on, except we removed this ring that's up by the clip. So this was their design. This is how they wanted the EDK to look. We made 1,000 of them, of these pens for them, for Mack Trucks. And then these were in the process of making them. We basically had some that are they have cosmetic flaws, and so we couldn't send them out for anodized because Mack Truck got them all black. And during the tumbling process before we sent them out, we noticed that some of these have minor cosmetic flaws. You can kind of, I don't know if you can actually see or not, but there's some shiny spots that wouldn't tumble out, like a little bit of machining errors or tumbling errors. So they're basically a prototype pen that we've never released to the public. And we were going to offer these, basically the last of these, that function. It might have little dings and stuff on them, but they're functional. We were going to offer those as well today, however many of these we had left. I think there's 25 of them or so. Obviously, those also are not able to go up today because because we're I can't add them to the website. So so that's what the EDK is. So it's not an EDK V2, it's an EDK V1. It doesn't have the O-ring inside of it. And legitimately it was never this version was never sold to the public. Even when we did adapt the pen with a grooved lower for our own sales, we changed the groove profile. So this is kind of a one-off. It's if you're a super fan or a collector or somebody especially who wants to get all the EDKs, this is kind of one that you probably want to have in your collection. Short of having the Mack Truck version, this is probably one that you want. So back to my my face, and then we can continue from there. So that's kind of the stuff that I was going to show off tonight, besides showing off some of the blue pens, that EDK, and then I had some other stuff that I was going to talk about, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get all that product in here because it's not done yet. So it's kind of a limited teaser, much smaller than I had planned to have. But that being said, if you plan on going to the San Francisco Pen Show, or you know somebody that lives in San Francisco that's going to go, you might want to ask them, hey, pick me up one of those pens. Just saying. So let's see if there's any questions. Carol, the current battle worn inks are only going to be blue for this this release. We only have blue battle worn inks right now. There's battle worn ink rollerball grab bags, I think, on the website right now. But as far as this version, it's only going to be blue. So it's kind of a short. There it goes. The flicker's back, guys. So I'm just warning you. Might go ahead and move directly. I'm trying to think if there was anything on. I left my list out of my other computer. You know, Carol, it's really difficult. We work with anodizers that we feel are great anodizers and give us a lot of great product or a lot of great service, and then they'll make a bunch of mistakes all in one go. A lot of it has to do with the fact that it's kind of a crappy job. Like if you're in there doing actual anodize, there's not a lot of applications that do anodize that needs as cosmetically exact of a process as we have. A lot of it's, you know, a lot of it is anodized, and then there's paint put over the anodize or something else. And so our process is this very specific process that that kind of it makes it difficult, because if the people that are in there are not used to running the products through the anodized treatment the way that we need them done, they're not really, they don't know that they're doing anything wrong necessarily, and then we can give them feedback. They have a really high turnover rate at almost all of anodizers. It's a pretty awful job, realistically. Most places it's open. There's not air conditioning or cooling in it, so it's hot. It can be kind of caustic. It's for lack of a better word, it's a minimum wage job that requires a lot of time and effort, and so people quit frequently, and so our anodizers go through a lot of turnover, and they basically, that's kind of what we hear back from them. Hey, we had new people, they mess it up. So I would imagine that Ian Sean, I'm trying to remember the name of the company. If I'm not mistaken, he's either in Pennsylvania or he's in New York. And we were actually contacted by an anodizing company in New York that does splash anodize like he uses. Very, very similar to his. The only problem with that is the cost of sending it there and getting it back. We'd have to send everything freight. And it would be far too costly for us to send it all the way there. We try to pick places that are relatively close, which is why we have an anodizer that we use in Utah. So there's not really another treatment for aluminum besides Cerakote, and the cost for that's, we do Cerakote, and we increase the price on the Cerakote to cover the cost of that. Anodizes pennies on the dollar, which is why our anodized pens and our tumbled aluminum pens are basically the same price, because it costs, when we send 100 pens out, it costs nothing to do 100 pens, whereas we send 100 pens out for Cerakote and it costs $15 to $20 per pen to get them Cerakote applications. So Todd, we don't have render Ks in stock right now. That's why we've been out of stock on render Ks since 2018. Or 2000, most of them since 2019. So we're making them. They'll be back in stock shortly. That's why we don't have any render Ks. So expect to see them back in the next 2.5 to 3 months. As soon as I can get them back from the anodizer. We have to have them finished tumbled, and then I can start sending them out to our anodizers. So, I would imagine that he uses that company. Either there's a company in PA that he uses, or he uses that company that contacted us from New York. They're a very reputable anodizing company for that style of anodize specifically. It's very that style of anodize, that they call it splash anodize or camo anodize, is very popular in paintball. So they anodize the aluminum parts on paintball guns in those splash patterns, because it looks like paint from a paintball. And that company specializes in doing really good work on paintball guns. So they contacted us, and we talked about doing it for a while, but it was just it wasn't cost effective. So I'm trying to remember what I was going to say now. If you have been curious about brass and copper retractable pencils, we are in the process of machining those right now. So before, we couldn't say anything specific because we didn't know for sure if we were going to do brass and copper retractables. We are in fact going to do brass and copper retractables, including the push button mechanisms. So that's something that we're actively working on right now that I can say 100% we will have in the near future. We're legitimately running them on machines or wrapping up. I think they're finishing the copper ones and they're going to do the brass ones next. Do I plan on making any more fast anodized titanium in either EDK or the Bolt? We will have more of the EDKs in anodized titanium, and probably more with some of Zoe's etching and stuff on them as well. I don't think we have. I'm not positive, but if we have any bolts left, we have very, very few left, and we haven't sourced more titanium. So, So I don't know for sure whether or not we'll have any bolts before the titanium bolts before the end of the year. Yeah, we're gonna have more of those, Colin, for sure. We're gonna have more of the like semi-faceted anodized titanium EDKs. It's just kind of it's a question of time more than anything. Zoe does so many different things that are very like time consuming that require her to, you know, she's in charge of sanding and polishing all of the resin pins. She's also making the resin that we're using for the vertexes. She'll be in charge of making the resin that we use for the decagraphs once we get those done. And she'll be in charge. She's in charge of doing all the etching on the pens. She's in charge of doing all the anodizing on the titanium, because we can anodize that titanium in the house. So she has a lot of things that she does that are all very detail oriented and time consuming. So it's basically like we divide up the time that she has, you know, where we need it. Let's see. Yeah, Todd, the mechanisms, the push button mechanisms are going to be made out of brass and copper for the brass and copper pins. The only thing that's not going to be brass or copper are going to be the clips, as of right now, just because plating the clips for those pens that's good. The plating the clips on those pens is going to cause the plating to come off. And it's not really possible to make those out of brass or copper, so they're probably just going to be the standard stainless steel clips that are going to go on the brass and copper pins. But you know, it's going to be like our other brass and copper pins, except for the decagraph's the only one that has a brass or copper clip. Hello, daughter. Nice to see you. Yeah, Colin, I think they are gone. I'm not sure. I will on Monday, actually, probably. I think we have 2 or 3 that are still left. So those people will get redrawn. Yeah, Carol, there's a lot of anodizers out there. We have tested in the last year or two, we've tested like, I don't even know, 10 of them that are on the West Coast, and one of them that was in Alabama. So unfortunately, that's just kind of the way it is. If you're curious, we are moving ahead with aluminum vertexes. So I don't know if anybody cares about that. It's been something that we've been asked in here before, and we've kind of been like, yeah, we'll do it eventually. Yeah, we're going to start moving into that process in the next couple months, probably. If not next month, we'll be actively working on aluminum vertexes. And with that, we'll figure out how we're going to do that. I think we're going to do some metal grips too, although I'm not positive. It's still kind of up in the air. We do have plans to bring back, like I said, the resin decagraphs in the next. Yeah, Brian, the aluminum decagraphs will have the option with all of the resin grips or all the polycarbonate grips that we make right now. We're probably going to make some aluminum grips too. But we're also going to be moving actively back into resin decagraph manufacturing, starting with adapting some of Zoe's material onto the decagraph. So we're prototyping that right now, and that'll be something that comes up shortly. Well, hopefully it comes up shortly. The process was very quick when Zoe did the work with the vertexes. So as long as we don't have any major hiccups, the her doing some of that adaptation to and doing decographs out of her resin should be as quick as it was with the vertexes. So yeah, I hope that we can do some Ultim decographs too. I think that pen would look really good in Ultim. Actually, I'd like to figure out a way to do an Ultim ink because I think that one would look great as well. Brandon, I'm pretty sure I've given you a few pens, so you. My daughter and her boyfriend are in the chat. I think my wife's in the chat too. So if you're wondering what all this is about, that's what it's about. They've decided to jump on board and spam me, and all of you get to have a wonderful chat with my family as well. So the Thunderbolt, the Thunderhead bolt will be resurrected sometime this month. Hopefully sometime this month. It really depends on anodizers. That seems to be the theme tonight. I can just name this live stream the anodized live stream. But yeah, it'll be the Thunderhead bolt. We're probably not going to do the fluted brass grips. Probably going to do either. I don't know if we have dragon skin or not, so it might be frag, but it's going to be a different grip profile. Yes, Paul has said the Vertex is the best. Paul has said that numerous times. But I use a bolt frequently, and I think Brandon has a bolt. I know my daughter does. So yeah, so actually that is my favorite one of my favorite pens. The Bit Crystal is an amazing pen. I have in fact sung the praises of that pen over and over and over again, and I will continue to. Many people think that I'm trolling the Fountain Pen Facebook group, and I'm not. I really believe that is one of the best pens you can. If you're on a limited budget, that's the best pen to purchase. All right, so I don't know about that. I don't know if that will ever happen, Colin. I'm never going to say never again because we made pens out of titanium. And we used to say we're never going to make them out of titanium, but zirconium is, I don't know that. I just don't know. Knowing what we would have to do to make those, having watched some other people and the nightmare, how much more of a nightmare those pens were than titanium pens, and how much like we'd have to sell them for, is kind of, it's probably something that we won't do anytime soon. And now it's possible. I'm never, like I said, I'm not going to say never, not anymore. But it's highly, highly unlikely. We've thought about doing something like that before in the past, Brian. We thought about doing an aluminum holder that would hold a bit crystal on one end, and the other end would be a stylus for the iPad. This was probably back in 2016 or so. But in the process of doing that, you're creating a lot of waste because you're basically asking somebody to take the plastic, the barrel and the cap for the bit crystal and throw those away just to use ours. And I understand that, that pen's going to go in a landfill eventually, but at the same time, it seemed a little, for lack of a better word, I don't know. It seemed a little bit unnecessary. So we never went ahead and moved into that. So Yeah, that would be an interesting one, but you'd have to modify the refill to get it to adapt to like a bolt action pen, which you could do pretty easily with like a 3D printed sleeve. So, you know. All right. So what else can I'm trying to think if there's anything else I meant to talk about. We have actually, Mara, we have actually contacted, trying to remember the name of them. So we've worked with two different leather manufacturers that are local in the past. And I forget, one of them used to be called Bison Maiden. He changed his name to something else, Ezra something maybe, I don't remember. And then we worked with another leather manufacturer for a while. And then since then, in the last like 6 months, I think we've reached out to a couple different ones. It's just, it's really difficult. So the process, the problem becomes, the problem with working with another manufacturer like that is that manufacturer has to be doing things where there's one of two things. We either have to make a product that's specific just for that collaboration, and then they do too, and then we kind of sell it together or cross market it, or that manufacturer kind of already has to be set up in a similar style of manufacturing and pricing in terms of margin, which was kind of a difficulty that we've had in the past. A lot of leather manufacturers that we've wanted to work with price their product all the way at the bottom of their margin. So like if I say, hey, is there any price breaks if I buy 100 of those? Or, do I need to buy 500? Do I need to buy 1,000 of them to get a price break? A lot of the smaller leather manufacturers are like, oh, well, it's the same price whether you buy one or whether you buy 5,000. Like I'm selling them as cheap as as low as I can. So there's that kind of thing that we have to think about whenever we work with a manufacturer like that. It's the kind of the benefit of working with a large scale manufacturer, somebody like Rickshaw or some of the other collaborations that we've done in the past where they've set up their businesses to sell wholesale or to sell corporate and stuff like that. So it makes sense for us to kind of work with them. So it is a little bit of a difficulty in finding somebody who has planned out their business like that. The last two that we contacted that we thought about working with, it just wasn't cost effective. They were selling their product. It was just like a notebook cover for pocket notebooks. Really nice, great stitching, beautiful product. They were selling for like $45 on their website, and we would have been buying them for $45, and so we would have had to mark them up to like $65. And at that point, why are you going to buy something from us for $65 when you can just go buy that same product from them for $45? So it's still, that is to say, we if we were to find somebody here, especially locally, we would definitely work with them. Absolutely. Carol asks, is selling at pen shows worth the attending for your company, if not for sales, for marketing? Okay, so that's a really good question, and a question that has been answered internally different ways at different times. Not all pen shows are profitable. That's just that has been our directly profitable in terms of we send people, they fly there, they have hotels, meals, Bill pays them for their labor, and then we sell however many items we sell, and then we come back and, did we make money at the end of the day, or was it a wash, or did we lose money? So not all pen shows are traditionally, in like a sales perspective, worth attending. So if we're just looking at it in the, did we make money off of attending or not? Yes or no. So they're not. There's only in fact, there's only a few of them that we've attended that's the case, where we have walked away at the end of the day and made money. That being said, having our presence there every time we go to a pen show, even if it's a pen show we've been to before, people walk past the table and are like, I've never heard of you before. Who are you? Like, not just one or two, 20 or 50 or 30, like at some shows, like the first time we went to the DC show, it was like every other person had no idea who we were. So attending shows from that perspective is definitely a positive. And so for that reason alone, we are talking about expanding. So this year, for sure, we're going to the San Francisco show at the end of the month and the Colorado show in October. I don't think we're going to any other shows because there's only like Dallas, Orlando, Detroit, and Ohio between now and then. And we haven't signed up for any of those because we didn't have plans to go to those. However, starting next year, we'll probably go to 8 to 9 shows for that reason, because it's just, we just need to be more present at shows. If people in the fountain pen community or in the writing instrument community or in the stationery community just don't know who we are, we're keeping our market as much smaller than it could be. So even if we don't make money at the shows, having people come up and take away business cards, scan a QR code that has all of our social and all of our website stuff on it, or hand them a coupon code or something, or email them a $10 gift card or something like that, or sign them up for the newsletter or whatever, like at the shows, in the long run, will probably make it worthwhile for us to attend more shows. Oh, really? I didn't, Brian, that's funny. What pen was it? Was it like one of his own pens, or? Huh. We don't normally, normally if we have something there, you can buy it now. So I don't know what pen that was. That's interesting. Like, I don't take anything with me that is something that I wouldn't sell, like, legitimately. I think there's been times where, like, I sold the pen that was in my pocket because I took it out to write a note with, and somebody was like, oh, I want to buy that one. And I was like, all right, fine, you can buy it, whatever. We don't currently make pink pens because we cannot get pink anodized. There are no anodizers that we have contacted to work with that anodize the color pink. So, oh, gotcha. So that's interesting. We had that one for a while. That's weird. I don't know. Unless he'd sold it to somebody else already, which is possible, and they had just hadn't collected it or something like that. I don't know why he wouldn't sell that one. I wish we had more of that material. Like we actually do have more of that material, but it's only in the small rods. We don't have the large rods. And I don't think we have any of them left over. I think I sold the last one that I had like 6 or 7 months ago. We did pink Cerakote last year, I think. Yeah, we did pink Cerakote last year for Mother's Day. So, small amount, like I think 25 or 50 pens total, 2 different pens. I think we did an EDK and a bolt, maybe. I don't remember. Oh yeah, Jet Pens probably does have a pink Ink V1. They have some really, really old stuff. I feel like if we went to the Sydney Pen Show, it would just be an excuse to take a vacation to Australia. That's the same thing. We've been invited. We've been personally invited by Vince, who runs all the shows in the UK, or the majority of the shows in the UK. And it is costly, but it's like, if we go, we can take a vacation. I've never been to the UK. I've never been there. I'd love to go. Same with Australia. Love to go. Then again, I've never been to DC, and I live in that country, and so I would love to go to DC. Yeah, we are going to do some pink anodized on the titanium stuff. I need to get Zoe to like do some single colored anodized titanium. So we are going to do that. Vertex and Arushi. Yeah, that would be great. I don't know to the viability. I mean, I'm sure that Jonathan or somebody like that can do it. I would be concerned that the snap cap thing might damage the Arushi over time, but it could work. I don't know. I've never looked into it. No, Jet Pens isn't the competition. We sell to Jet Pens. They're one of our retail partners, so they're not really competition. We have looked at doing ebonite pens in the past. They break our machines every single time. Every time. Whether it's Indian ebonite or Japanese ebonite or German ebonite, they break the machines without fail. And so Bill is like, I'm not going to make a pen that's going to break a $250,000 machine every single time I try to make 3 or 4 of them. So I don't know what the swag was that G gave away for flashing a coin. I think it was like a bag that, like a little baggie that had like a reactor pen and some buttons and like a sticker pack and maybe like a temporary tattoo or something. I don't know for sure. Yeah, Ian, we talked about that, and unfortunately, it's still something that we're planning to do potentially. I'm hoping to launch one just like the first one just prior to the holidays, so sometime in like late October or early November. Andrew asks, when are you expecting to have more titanium pens in stock? Any new pens in the work? Again, I don't know. We haven't purchased any titanium, so I don't know when that's going to happen. So maybe, gosh, maybe next year, new pens. The only titanium stuff that we're going to have in stock right now is just the EDKs that we have left over. Jason Bright, inner caps for fountain pens ever a consideration? Oh boy. I don't know how to answer that question because I don't personally think there is a benefit for inner caps. There's a benefit for inner caps if your caps don't seal properly. But the way that we've engineered the caps on our pens, all of them should be completely sealed, especially now that we have O-rings in all of the caps, and they flush mate on the face of the grip section. So there shouldn't be a need for an inner cap in any of our pens. And the inner cap will almost always cause people with fountain pens to have this consternation of, I have somehow gotten ink in between the inner cap and the outer cap and I can't get it out. I see that all the time with platinums and pilots and stuff like that. So I don't know that there's, I would have to sit down with somebody that would explain to me why we should add an inner cap to our pen. Yeah, if you have a vertex that seems to dry out faster than it should, I would just send it into us and we can look at it. It might need to have the O-ring swapped out, or because it shouldn't realistically it shouldn't dry out that fast. It should last 2 to 3 weeks without drying out, like, you know, I mean, so there could be a problem with it. Church Boy, any chance that a cement gray anodizer Cerakote be offered on the retract? So we did the retract in that color already once. In fact, that's the only pen that we've officially done in that color. And it was Cerakote. It was like a flat gray. I can't even remember what we called it now. Meteor gray, I think. But yeah, we did do that in the past. We did like 25 or 30 pens. I mean, we might do it again in the retract. I don't know for sure. Yeah, we basically matched that color. Like it was a Cerakote that matched basically that color. So Maria, that's still top secret information. You know what? I told everybody that won to post it on like social media, and nobody did. Even the people that like said, "Oh yeah, I have social media. Go ahead and do it," so we could like repost like what they got. And I don't think a single person reposted the box that I sent out. So I can't even remember what was in it, but so Jason, have you ever reversed the laser engraving on your nibs, making the area next to the slit? Oh, No, but I guess we could. The problem with doing that is that if you actually take, so here's not the problem, but here's the interesting thing about it. If you take all the different sizes of just the number 6 nibs, you take extra fine, fine, medium, broad, 1.1, double broad, you put them all next to each other, they're actually not all the same size. And so we'd have to make specific files for every single one. We could do it. We could technically, reverse the laser marking and laser the outside and leave the inside that way. It would just take time and somebody to lay out the artwork. Might mess around with that, see if it's something we could do on maybe a special release or something. Oh, Brian was one of the winners. So he post the link in the chat, Brian. If you did one on video on YouTube, if you actually did, go ahead and post it in there, and people can peruse that after we're done and can see what was in there. Yeah, I've heard that a lot of people pull the TWSBI caps with the inner caps with an eraser. All right, so let's see. I don't have a giveaway today. I apologize. I'm really sorry. I know everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, a giveaway!" I didn't plan a giveaway for August. We'll do a double giveaway in September. I apologize for that. If anybody has any more questions, otherwise, I figure we'll wrap it up. I have to figure out if the reservations I made for dinner are actually happening or not. Peruse, yes, peruse. No, the live streams are always, well, not always. I try to do live streams the second Friday of every single month. So Colin asks, is this the favorite part of my job? So is this my favorite part of my job? I don't know. I do enjoy this. It's much better than making scripted videos like we used to do. That's really kind of frustrating for me. I don't know why, but it is. So this is I like the interaction, but yeah, no, I like this part of my job. There's most of my job is relatively enjoyable. Yeah, sure. We'll go with enjoyable. Most of my job I have fun at. There are very frustrating things like today when the website doesn't want to work, and when we're stuck with trying to figure out how to make a pen or trying to find anodizers. There's a lot of minor frustrating things that I deal with, but the majority of my job is actually pretty easy and likable and enjoyable. Okay, let's see. Oh, I don't know if I can answer that question, Jason. What is my favorite bourbon? Probably. Oh man, I don't know. Four Roses, single barrel strength, maybe. I don't know. Those are really good. like off the shelf that you can find, probably Smoke Wagon, uncut, unfiltered, or small batch. I'm kind of getting into rye lately too. So Sagamore rye, if you like drinking rye, Sagamore rye, especially their picks are really, really good. The one that I have is absolutely fantastic. Let's see. Paul is a freestyle kind of guy. I am a freestyle kind of guy. Favorite bourbon, Louis the 14th. No, I don't have the kind of money to buy Louis the 14th. That's also not a bourbon, but Tommy would love to taste that. Tommy's a cognac guy, so. And yes, there is a lot of bourbon at the house, bourbon and rye at the house right now. So, okay. That being said, any other legitimate questions? Legitimate questions beside, I mean, you can ask what my favorite whatever is, but if you have questions, I want to get to them before we wrap it up. Otherwise, we're gonna wrap it up, and I have 20 minutes of cleanup here before I can leave the shop. So. Oh, do I? So I do carry a pocket knife. I carry a Kershaw. This is, oh man, I don't even remember what model it is. 1776 T Gray BW. So I have this, and I have a Spyderco that I carry. But I'm the type of person that my pocket knife is legitimately like, I cut everything with it. It is a utility knife. It cuts boxes. It cuts whatever. I cut my sandwich with it the other day when they didn't cut my sandwich in half. So I'm not a person who's carrying a pocket knife and not going to use it. Like all of the pocket knives that I have, they get used for whatever I need a knife for. This was back when I bought a lot of stuff off Mass Drop, so it was like super cheap, like $27, but it's made in the USA. I don't really care about like, oh, it's tactical, oh, it's easily deployable, whatever. Like, I don't need it for anything other than to open boxes and cut sandwiches and, slice open bags at work or something like that. I don't have any plans of getting in a knife fight anytime soon. It's not like, West Side Story or anything. We did talk about decographs. Resin decographs are on their way back. And the reason I talked about knives was that Mr. Lopan said, do you carry a pocket knife? So I need to get a habit of like answering, like verbally asking the question so people aren't like, I don't know what's going on. Let's see. Any popular knives in the shop? I don't know for sure what the other guys carry. Bill has a bunch of Serge Pachenko knives that we got in trade. I think Corey has. Oh, the video's wigging out. I think Corey carries a Spyderco or a Kershaw. I don't know for sure. I'd have to ask. We just kind of like use whatever's around, like for like photo drops and stuff like that, EDC drops. So, oh, look, if you're ever in town, you can have a shop tour. You don't have to bring anything at all, Mara. Like we do shop tours to anybody that stops by that wants a shop tour. It's not a big deal. I would love to sample your husband's bourbon and rye, as I'm a big fan, so yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we'll give you a tour. You don't have to trade anything for it. Like we're all about showing people what we do. No, Jay, you don't have to apologize for not hearing it. But yeah, I did go over. We are in the process of making, doing a resin decograph. Specifically, like I said earlier, instead of you going back and listening to it, but you should because you showed up late. the Zoe's materials are going to be adapted to the resin decographs first. And after that, we'll probably go back to doing like standard acrylic rods and stuff. Okay. I'm going to wrap things up because I still have about 20 minutes worth of work to shut the shop down before I can get out of here. I've got stuff I got to put away, turn all the lights off, take everything down. So thank you guys for another wonderful live stream. I apologize for the weird difficulties. I'm sorry that we didn't get the pins launched today. I still don't have an update. I just checked the site. I was typing stuff and looking around and seeing if I could check the site just now. It still won't let me update anything to load those pins. So I'll try again tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. We will have the battle worn blue inks and then those prototype EDKs tomorrow, but I'm not positive. I'm not positive that's going to happen. It just depends on whether or not we can get that stuff done. So, all right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Be safe. I'm going to clean up around here and then go out to dinner with my wonderful family. Cheers, everybody. Good night. Love you guys.